Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about academic Twitter and how I went about getting 1,000 followers on Twitter. So why is Twitter of interest to us as academics? So as an academic, it's a really great way for us to be able to connect with others in our field and in academia more generally. And so this can be a great way for you to find collaborators, people to work with and get inspired. Can be a great way to promote yourself and promote your work when you have something published, when you are looking for collaborators, and just really any time you have some thoughts, questions you want to ask of others in your field. It's a great way of doing that. There are a lot of academics on Twitter and they're very active and very eager to engage with one another. You can find some great opportunities. So this could be collaboration, it could be job opportunities. I will, when I see interesting jobs, periodically retweet those to my followers. And it's a great way to learn and to find out about new research. So a lot of academics, when they publish a paper, they will tweet links, sometimes with free access for those of you who don't have institutional access and databases. This can be really good. And it means that you're getting it straight away. So as soon as it's published, you'll be finding out about it. It's also just a great way to learn. There's a lot of people, myself included, who will just make useful, helpful tweets about things in the area. So for me, I will talk about research and data, statistics and ethics, and just really just sharing information in nice little tweet bite-sized chunks. So how did I go about getting 1,000 followers, and how can you get more followers? So the first thing you want to do is set up your profile if you haven't already. You want to have a nice, fairly short if you can, but understandable username. You don't want something that is too cryptic or too long or is going to be dated. And you want to have a nice clear bio. So who are you? What areas are you interested in? That way it's going to be much easier to find other people in your particular area. Some people choose to put their institution they work at as well. And this is up to you. I think there is value in it, particularly when you're starting out, because you'll be able to more easily connect with others at your institution. So you might be able to get your first 20 or 50 followers just with other academics, with them just saying, oh, here's someone that teaches something else at the same institution as me. So I would generally recommend doing that unless you had particular privacy concerns. And if you have those privacy concerns, then I guess you could think about whether you set up 2 accounts, maybe one that's a little bit more anonymous, and then one that is professional, a wee bit like a LinkedIn, but where you're going to be doing just some interacting. So you've set up your account, then you want to follow accounts. And you want to follow those who are in your field, perhaps some that are a little bit more general in academia. And what I like to do is have a mix. So there will be some very large accounts where I will follow. They're unlikely to follow me back, but they tweet really useful, interesting stuff, and they generate interesting conversations. Then there will be people who have much smaller accounts, and they will be more inclined to follow you back. So I will normally follow someone back if it looks like we have common interest, and you'll notice that there is a bit of a quid pro quo there. Some people will very explicitly say they'll create a thread and they'll say, if you comment and follow me, I'll follow you. And this is good for just getting those raw numbers, but you do want to think about whether it is actually a connection of value. And so I would think about that as I follow people. Is this going to be a connection of value? So I refer you to the essay called 1,000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly. If you Google that, it's very easy to find. And basically it says that you don't need huge numbers of fans, or in this case followers, provided the ones that you have are very dedicated and high quality. And I would extend this to Twitter. So I would look at whether someone is an academic, if they may be just some sort of Bitcoin scammer, or they're doing something completely unrelated. Well, are they going to be interested in what I tweet? And am I going to be interested in what they tweet? And if the answer both directions is probably not, then maybe we don't need to worry about following them. So once we have started following some people, get involved with some conversations. Where you see a conversation of interest where you can contribute, get involved by replying, make sure you are polite, and try to be helpful. For me, I can normally help people out with things like research ethics, certainly with statistics and data and R, and so I will jump into conversations. If someone has asked a question and isn't sure, then I will help them out. This is a great way for people to recognize you as an authority in the area and to get followers. You want to learn the hashtags. So I will look at a couple of examples shortly, but in your area there will be some hashtags, and if you start using the hashtags on your post, this can help people to find you. Finally, you want to write interesting tweets. To start with, this is less important because it'll only be the people, mainly just the people that follow you, that are going to see them. And if you only have 10 or 20 followers, that's not a really big audience. Eventually though, as your audience grows, being able to tweet interesting things and they will retweet them, their followers will see it, and that's the way that you will grow that follower account and potentially have something that goes viral. I would also really think strongly about using threads. So a thread is where you have a message that is composed of multiple tweets. It's a nice way of being able to talk about something with more detail than just the limited number of characters of a single tweet. So thinking about hashtags and some accounts to follow. So here are some examples of commonly used hashtags. They are very, very generic ones. And whilst you might choose to use some of these, so things like academia or PhD life if you're a PhD student, I would look at your particular area. What are people in your area using? So there's likely to be some more niche hashtags that you'll be able to use that will help you connect more closely with people that are in your field or more like you. With those accounts that I've listed there, the first three are people or groups who talk about more general academic information. Each of them I think is very valuable. You'll see some useful information, some interesting conversations. The fourth and fifth one are more specific to PhD students, and so that will be a mix of helpful and useful resources, but also people asking questions. So people will often tag them when they are asking questions in order to get answers or conversation. Something I would remind you of is that Twitter was built as a Skinner box. So the Skinner box, classic psychological experiment, little mouse, little lever, sometimes gets a reward. That's what social media is. And so you really do want to be careful with Twitter and with how you use it, that you don't get addicted and it becomes a big burden and takes lots of your time. So what I would recommend is having very specific times, maybe when you're waiting for a bus or you're on the train, or there's a particular time of the day where you go, okay, this 5 or 10 minutes is what I'm going to spend on Twitter. I'm going to look at the interesting things that people are tweeting. I'm going to reply to some of them, and then that's my Twitter use for the day. And by doing that, you can build a set of followers. You can make some great connections. But by hopefully staying disciplined, then you're not going to have it take a whole lot of your time. So I definitely recommend academic Twitter. I would try very hard to avoid trending topics and all the people who are just arguing with each other, particularly over politics. But academic Twitter I've found to be very helpful and very friendly. And so what can you do now? Well, I am now with 1,000 Twitter followers trying to get my YouTube account up to 1,000 as well. So I definitely appreciate you liking and subscribing here. Beyond that, jump over on Twitter, send me a message and connect with me there, and hope to connect with all of you.